See it?
Just pulling it up now. Yeah, we're there.
Let's see. Yeah, but that Bucks team was so fun to watch.
With
Cause you just had so many like characters. You had the what was Mike Allstott, the train,
and work done.
Work done.
We had Sapp on defense.
He was such a character.
John Lynch.
Oh man.
Derek Brooks. Yeah, that was a good team.
Just a
good team.
Really good team. Really good fun team that you just wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw.
Brad Johnson was a little dull at quarterback.
I mean, yeah. Can't have it all. Can't have it all.
Can't have it all.
Can't have it all.
Bad Brad.
If they did have a fucking decent quarterback, who knows where that team would be at in the echelon of like great teams.
Yeah.
All-time great teams.
Well, but the problem they had was it was short-lived.
Very short-lived. What they had, like a 3-year run, maybe?
Well, they kind of had a couple-year build-up with Tony Dungy, but like they never got to the Super Bowl, never got over the top, and then they brought in Gruden. I think he won it the first year.
Yeah.
And then like it kind of unraveled after. Keyshawn Johnson was another one on that team.
Yeah.
He was another big person.
Yeah, Keyshawn was another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was they ramped up, had the one title, and it just slowly got away from them.
Yeah. I look at interviews from those guys talking about the team and the team dynamics and stuff like that. And I mean, nobody really has like a good reason on why it broke up like that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I haven't thought about it or studied it. I mean, it's kind of like Gruden kind of had the one season, and like other than that, the rest of his coaching career, you could look at and say, what did he do?
Yeah.
Because he basically won, and then he presided over the downfall of that team, and then he had his ill-fated run with the Raiders that ended in an avalanche of racist and sexist comments.
I mean, yeah.
This guy's really an asshole. Like, why did he ever become popular?
No, that's true.
He was all shtick though. There's a part of me that never liked him.
Gruden?
Yeah.
With the Chucky.
The Chucky faces and just I thought like he just kind of bought into that character of being this persona, and I'm not saying it wasn't, even if it was somewhat authentic, it was embellished.
Yeah.
And it became like a sideshow to like any actual success.
Yeah.
And he was, and I hate like even the guys that spoof him, and Deshaun Watson fits into this for me. Like the big thing is he like when he was kind of doing the analyst thing, is that he would just throw around a lot of like terminology that like most people don't really know.
Like random, random
terminology. Y2 banana, whatever. And like people act like what you're saying.
He got that was a big piece of it. Like after his coaching career when he got into the quasi.
Well, he was like
commentating.
He was pretty big in that lane.
Yeah, he was.
Because he would do
the quarterback,
the game commentating, and then he was kind of like this. A lot of times he would do stuff with like the draft eligible QBs.
Yeah.
And get them on the board and draw stuff up and like whatever.
What was the best quarterback he had? I know Tampa, he didn't really have a strong quarterback.
I don't think he ever had one.
And so
know what he did? No, he came from when he was young. I think he was with like the Packers with like early Brett Favre and stuff, and
but he wasn't
that
making
West Coast offense.
My point to that was like, what young great quarterback did he bring in? Yeah. What great young quarterback did he bring in that he helped and mold?
The answer is none.
And you're supposed to be able to identify all of that jargon and stuff. Is being able to I'm going to get a guy in the room. I'm going to check his whiteboard stuff. I'm going to check his film, and I should be able to identify if he's a good quarterback or not.
Yeah.
And if you never had a good quarterback, then what was all that about?
Yes, he was close. His entire career was built around he was close to Brett Favre.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I that's why I'm not a fan of his. And I think that his record and legacy, when you like kind of look under the hood of the engine, is empty.
Yeah.
Somebody stole the transmission on that. That don't add up. It doesn't.
Somebody stole the tranny.
Oh, not me.
Check Doc Rivers' pockets.
Shake Doc down for a tranny. Look what we found here. A chick with a dick.
Well, if you guys didn't notice, you're back on the bench. On the Bench podcast with Bubba and Pink.
Ramped up quickly. You should recognize where you are.
Home of sports, music, and mayhem. Don't forget we're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff.
Hey, while we're shitting on quarterback talent evaluators, let's catch Jimbo Fisher with the stray.
What's up with Jimbo?
He was always fashioned as a QB guru and offensive guru. And he was, let me just say this first. So, like, when he got to FSU as an offensive coordinator / head coach in waiting, and we had, for my entire life at that point, Bobby Bowden, who's like a country bumpkin, barely talks football, talks about all sorts of weird stuff that people's moms cook and things. And then we got Jimbo, and Jimbo Fisher can talk football as good as anybody. He can, battle of inches, play here, play there, analyze. He can, just without thinking, rattle off long possessions, play by play. He's kind of like Rain Man in that regard.
Yeah.
And so he got this reputation as an offensive guru and specifically a quarterback guru. And the reality is, when you look at his resume, Jameis is the only real star. He coached Jamarcus Russell. Remember that guy?
He was lauded, at least.
Right.
I mean, he was
the top pick of the draft, but he sucked.
Did he? But he didn't suck at FSU, did he?
No, he was at LSU.
I mean, LSU. I mean, that's when Jimbo was at LSU.
He had a good year, and he had the physical pieces.
Yeah.
Big, strong guy,
yeah,
athletic,
But
great
still,
arm.
yeah.
At FSU, he had Christian Ponder drafted in the first round, E.J. Manuel drafted in the first round.
Whoa. Go ahead.
Before Jameis, okay? But here's where I say...
I think those are pluses for him.
No, but here's where I say, Jimbo, like I started this with, he can talk football. He can make guys sound like whatever. And I think what he did with those guys is he had everybody fooled.
Yeah. He
had those guys coached up so they could go on the board at the combine and talk ball.
Yeah.
And they knew. And they all those guys fit the physical profile at the time.
They did, yeah.
They had some height,
especially
they had
EJ.
some arm.
Yeah.
But I don't think he really developed dudes.
Yeah.
That
on the field.
Really could play and execute what you're talking about. He got guys that could teach but not play.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And I think he basically skated by with a reputation that just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then when he got to A&M, and he was there for 4 or 5 years, he developed no one. Their quarterback room was a revolving chair.
Yeah.
So I think he's a guy we look back and say, fucking fraud. We do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jimbo the fraud.
He is. Jimbo the fraud.
Well, not sure we're going to talk about any more frauds today after that. Got a pretty good show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some Juneteenth stuff here. Should we be celebrating Juneteenth? You got Iman taking Teyana Taylor to the cleaners. All right.
Or trying to.
All righty.
May the Lord be with him.
Trevor Lawerence gets a big payday, and now owners want to eye a quarterback salary cap. Shout out to Trevor for changing things, maybe for the worse. And then we got Bronny James turning down workouts and things of that nature. We're gonna get into that, and a little bit more NBA, of course. All right. Is your phone volume up at all?
Oh,
maybe.
Let me double check.
Maybe a little bit there.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, I don't know if they can hear it anyway. Yeah, so I wanted to start off with Juneteenth. You know, anytime in the black community, we get these things, holidays. Some people want to celebrate the holidays. You always get the three camps. You get the camp that they're going to take whatever holiday you give them because they're going to, they want to celebrate with their family. It's another excuse to fire up a fried pork chop. You know what I mean? I only eat bad on the holidays. We keep giving you holidays. You're eating bad every month. All right, and then you got the camp who strongly believes in the holiday and they say, yeah, we need this and this is why, and you why don't you celebrate it? And then of course you got the opposite of that camp, which is just, you guys need to stop celebrating this holiday because this is why. You don't even know what the real meaning behind it is, right, and all that stuff, right? And I always fall between the camp of if I get a holiday, I get it. Who cares, right? And of course the Juneteenth is basically an acknowledgement and of when the slaves were freed, and yes, it's June 19th or whatever of that date, but some slaves didn't know till a year, 2 years later, and some people have a problem with that. But in my mind, and I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but in my mind, how I explain that is, well, if we were slaves now and we're just getting freed, then Minister Farrakhan could send out a tweet and say, "Hey, we're free now," and then everybody is going to hear and we're like, "Yeah, we're free. Let's do it."
Yeah,
and then by tomorrow,
everybody knows.
Everybody knows. But way back then,
there were some logistical hurdles in the 1860s.
If they made the announcement in New York, it might take a while to get to Florida and Georgia about
There's a story of a Japanese soldier in World War II that was on one of the remote islands, and he literally did not know the war ended until the 70s.
So he's still on patrol
He was on this remote island, and he thought that, they found him in the 70s. Like, buddy, war's been over for 35 years. It's okay, lay down your arms. But I mean, there's no communication, there's no TV, there's no radio to break it down for him, and
Yeah.
kept fighting the good fight.
Kept fighting the good fight, man. And that's my thing. But when you really think about it, right? My true feelings about it is, it's really revolves around history. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you really, our history has already been jaded. Our history can really only be dated back to slavery anyhow. You know what I mean? If someone tells you that they can predate history prior to slavery, they really lying. I mean, I know there's pieces you can put together and say, okay, if A is B, we can equal C and things of that nature. But no one really, and I say that to say, whoever created the slavery system to begin with, they were fucking geniuses, because a part of the whole diabolical plan was to strip us from our history. That was one of the things there, right?
Yeah.
So so history is such a big piece surrounding Juneteenth. So I have no issue with someone who takes the holiday as a serious thing. I think what Biden was behind actually labeling Juneteenth as a holiday. I think his administration was actually but pushing it to make it a national holiday. And it's weird because it's still a lot of jobs and a lot of other places don't really recognize. You're not going to get the day off from a lot of different places. Yeah. So that's a little weird. But I don't know. What do you take away from it?
I have a couple thoughts on it for sure. The key to so many things is education. Yeah. And part of having this holiday is to acknowledge a piece of history that's overlooked, that's distorted, and outright lied about. Yeah. And so if by having this holiday and making it known, and I didn't know about this until a few years ago, literally. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up knowing about Juneteenth or any of that. And so for me, when I first heard it, it was a prompt, okay, what is the significance of this day? What happened? Why is this being celebrated or identified? And so it prompted me to educate myself a bit more on this thing. And so, I mean, so many of our problems arise from a distortion of the truth, of a lie. And if you begin to educate, you begin to solve problems. And so from that basic thing, I think it's good to acknowledge a piece of history and in some way prompt people to learn and to educate. But the reality is this: we are in a broken and divided society. And there's going to be people that are just going to be happy to call out of work for a holiday or be off work for a holiday to fire up a grill or throw back some drinks. And it doesn't go any further for those people. That's it. And there's going to be the racist segment of the country who get mad because the holiday happens at all. Why are we acknowledging this? This is bullshit. And, and then there's the group, like you said, there's like, if there's any historical inaccuracy or a counterpoint on the origin of the holiday, they're going to say, oh, this is total bullshit. Why are we even doing this? And so it becomes an incredibly divisive thing when it shouldn't. These things should be reference points to educate and to inform and to bring something to the forefront. And I know there's a certain level of corniness to all of the days we have, and even like breast cancer awareness or African American History Month in February. There's a certain corniness to that. But if you get past the corniness and it shines a light on something that maybe you could learn about, that's an improvement. So on that base level, I'm okay with acknowledging things. And I think it's important to. And I think you have to do this in the context of this is why we're broken and divided. There's a significance to like taking down symbols of division, symbols of hatred, and like a lot of the monuments. I was good with some of those monuments coming down of the real old colonial slaveholders and this and that.
Yeah.
It's you have to create a better thing. That's your duty as a person. And part of that is like education. Part of it is like, when we realize something's wrong or deplorable, to stop celebrating it.
Yeah.
Because even if you're not, even just letting it exist is a problem. Letting it exist is an endorsement of what it represents. And while it may not really hurt or mean anything to you individually, your passive acceptance of it harms someone else. It diminishes another viewpoint. And I think it's important to, again, take down symbols of division and hatred, replace them with educational moments where you can get better at something. We treat our things we care about and kind of our own individual lives, if you're living your life the right way, as you want to take care of yourself, you want to be mentally strong, physically strong, and healthy. And to do those things, you have to make certain sacrifices. You have to go out of your comfort zone to do certain things to be what you want to be. But when we look at ourselves as a society, we refuse to do that. We're too divided. Everything that anyone tries to do, there's a counterpoint, there's an argument, there's a debate, and not an educated debate either, just a debate of ignorance that tries to destroy or diminish these things. And it's like, okay, Juneteenth has a dark history, but like that history has to be explored. Because if you don't explore it and delve into it and understand it, you never grow from it. And like that's where we are as a society. We would rather debate whether or not this holiday should exist or whether we should celebrate it than to understand what it represents historically, or to consider how far have we come from that day, if at all. Those are the questions that need to be asked, but they're not asked when we're going to debate over whether or not we should have a holiday.
Bingo. I totally agree with all of that, really. And as I'm thinking like, okay, the part of the country that ask like why have this holiday, whether they're white, black, or whatever, is like you said, it's a part of knowing. Because okay, say if you're not a part of the black race, understanding Juneteenth and Black History Month can help you better understand the plight of black people and why a lot of us are the way we are. You know what I mean? Because, one of my favorite stories of all time, of any genre, funny, sad, whatever, and I think I told this story on the show several times, is that the Vietnam War, right? When our military went over to Vietnam and we were at war, and the Vietnamese people were on the big horns, and they're like, "So, brother, this is not your war." Like they were so confused and dumbfounded of why so many black men were on the front line fighting for the United States. They literally could not understand why we were there. And it's like, yo, soul brother, this is not your war. And the thing about it is those black men, they don't understand. They didn't know because they don't know the history, that we were detached from our history. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to better understand, your black neighbor or whatever, is to understand slavery, to understand Black History Month, to understand what our parents, grandparents, whatever, et cetera, went through, and how some of that trauma and things are just passed down through generations and through generations. You know what I mean? Yeah. And also the last thing there, which you did hint on, is just a basic, simple acknowledgement of, hey, this did happen. Right. Like, we're in 2024. It happened a while ago, but this did happen. Yeah. Like, this was in our country. This is a part of our history. It happened to this class of people, and the class of people that are still here already. This happened. Yeah. Okay. And this is the day that we acknowledge it, and we're going to acknowledge it once a year, every year, just so everyone knows. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, like, to a degree, I always kind of internally laugh at, like, you'll have the 9/11 stuff, and it's never forget. Yeah. We'll never forget the whole fucking story. Yeah. Because it's just not 9/11. Yeah. There's a wealth of atrocities this country has committed. There's a wealth of atrocities the white people in this country have committed that they would just want to literally deny or pretend never happened. And that's just not how it works. I mean, our actions, all actions, white people, but all people, your actions have consequences. They have reactions, and they trigger things. A cycle of events that you can't just say, "Oh, this never happened." No, the fact that it happened explains where you are right now today. And until you get that, until you understand that, you're not in a position to move forward or be any better. You cannot move forward if you're constantly like hiding your rear view. Yeah, it's just not the way to do it. I mean, if you talk in base level, like drug addiction and alcohol addiction, the thing that you need to do is admit that you are an addict. Yeah. Admit that you're addicted. Admit that you have a problem. Then you can build from that platform. But we refuse to do that here. Yeah. And in the current iteration of the Republicans and these fucking animals, is they want to deny that further. Yeah. They want to remove books. They want to remove diversity programs. They want to remove everything that gives us any historical accuracy, so that they could just perpetuate lies, nonsense, and bullshit. Yeah. And I'm going to get on the soapbox here because, again, if you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, Biden's an old doddering fool and I'm not going to vote for him. By default, you are voting for the erasure of history. And usually, if you're a person of color, at your specific expense. If you're going to say, well, I don't like either of these two guys, then you're voting for the erasure of history. And that is a major problem. And if you're going to sit on the sidelines, and I'm a vindictive person, I really am. I like people that make bad decisions to pay for them. It brings me joy. and again, if you sit this out and the election goes the wrong way, I hope you suffer. Yeah. I will revel in your suffering because you brought it on yourself. It's just not acceptable to allow things to move in the direction that they're moving, because they're moving literally historically backwards. Yeah. And that's just not an acceptable outcome. It's crazy. And if you can't see that as a person, you yourself are uneducated, you're brainwashed, and you're useless. You're not even useless. You are an active detriment to the betterment of society. Yeah. On any level. And it's literally unconscionable to sit this out and watch this happen. Yeah.
Well, the last thing I'll add there is when you say you need to acknowledge your problem. And one of my favorite songs of all time, a rapper, he says, I smoke, I drink. I'm supposed to stop, but I can't. I'm a dog. I love hoes. And I'm addicted to money, cars, and clothes. You got to admit your problems, man. That's right. Where it starts.
That's right. That starts right there. I'm sure it's a better man after that song hit the charts. Damn sure a richer man.
For sure. That is for sure. Really quick here before we move along with the show here, I wanted to give a quick shout out, and where is my guy here? Okay, to Royal13thebrand.com. What not a better way to celebrate Juneteenth by purchasing from a black business owner here, okay? Royal13thebrand.com, and you use promo code Bubba Pink, okay? You can promote and help a black business owner for cheap, okay? Using our 50% or whatever the discount is. I don't want to put a number out there because I'm not sure.
I was going to say, keep it vague.
Keep it vague. Promo code Bubba Pink, Royal13thebrand.com. All right, here. Let's move along to some sports here. Once again, on the Bench Podcast, sports, music, mayhem is what we're all about here. And I'm gonna go. It's been a while since we went into the NFL, right?
It has been.
It's been a while. And we don't want to leave the NFL out. We love the NFL.
Did you see another Chiefs player got arrested?
Yeah, man. Our defensive tackle.
What is that, like 5 for the?
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah. 4. So
just a matter of time before we get to 5.
Mahomes is gonna have to put together a full team meeting there. Come on, Andy.
You almost feel like, I mean, as a leader, do you have a meeting? Like, guys, just tighten the fuck up.
The last 2 guys have been like, minimum rotation guys.
Yeah.
I mean, guys you still need, but, well, let's wait till Kelsey gets caught robbing a bank or something.
Old school on horseback. I have a note. I don't know, man, because it's just like you're the 2-time defending champions. It's like you don't need more distractions.
No.
I mean, to me, and I enjoy the Chiefs not as much as you do, but it's like you got to eliminate these distractions. You're just shooting yourself in the foot with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I know this is not making a tackle or blocking a kick or catching a touchdown, but like the more just idiocy you have around your program, the more noise you have, it's just that much harder to have the success that you want.
Now, you know what Bill Belichick would have done that Andy is probably not going to do?
Cut guys.
Send a message, especially this last guy, because like I said, he's a minimum rotation guy. He would have been cut the day of, and just to send a message. But Andy takes the opposite route. Did
Bill really? I mean, if you know, you know. Like Bill, to me, he was more popular for just like trading guys that wanted
before there, yeah.
Like, not even that they did anything wrong.
Yeah.
You would have a guy like had just had a Pro Bowl appearance. He's up for a contract and suddenly he's a Cleveland Brown.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, I woke up in 5th place in my division.
No, I woke up in 5th place in my division. No, that's definitely what he's known for.
Yeah.
That's definitely what he's known for. Among other things, I know we got Trevor up on the screen here, but did you see like the internet dissect the roast, and when Grunk was up there talking about Bill Belichick, one of those jokes that nobody caught at that time.
I haven't seen this. No.
Yeah, what was about Belichick dating this 23-year-old lady, because Grunk was like the high school joke about you're recruiting. You stopped recruiting out of college, now you're recruiting out of high school.
Right.
Now.
Yes.
And everybody was like, but that's because he has and Belichick is like what, 70 or something?
It's got to be 70.
Yeah, upper 70s, and she's like 22, 23.
Bill's got to have that like Villages grade Viagra going. He's getting that straight out of the Villages.
Straight out of the Villages.
Where's my loofah? Dude, that's wild.
It's super wild. He's divorced. He's do what you want to do.
Freshly divorced or like?
I don't know about freshly. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Honestly,
I don't know.
I
didn't think any women. I don't know. I didn't think he really was into pussy. Apparently, he is. No longer burdened by running the Patriots.
Young, vibrant. Coach at that.
Is she look vibrant or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's not like a 225 pounder with cheese.
Weight is not a function of vibrancy, Bubba. Vibrancy is an inner energy.
It can be. I don't know. I've had some vibrant big girls, so yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you're right.
You're right. I'm usually right. So just
I can admit it.
All right. Good.
I'm gonna admit her.
That's funny though. I don't know. He seems like essentially like an asexual person. Like,
yeah.
You never thought about Belichick getting delayed ever.
I think that's I think that's a part of why no one's really like completely trashing him. We've had other situations where guys have been that old and women and how could this happen and he's disgusting. Not like that conversation is not taking place. More of the conversation is like, wow, Bill.
Well played, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you're on your way out, so I guess whatever goes at that point.
Is the 24-year-old, is she like maybe a nurse and she got some inside information that Bill's gravely ill and she's just along for the ride? Like, what?
Get your name on that will. I mean, do what you got to do.
I can't imagine. Like, what is a 24-year-old going to be attracted to Bill for?
Yeah, I don't know. She would have had to have. It makes sense if she has nothing going on for her. Like nothing. Yeah. And then I'm with it. I'm for it. I mean,
for her.
Yeah, for her.
You're on her team, not Bill's team.
Well, both, I guess.
All right.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not anything past 21 to me is like fair game, no matter how old the guy or woman is, whatever.
Really?
Yeah. It's whatever, man.
All right.
You're a full adult.
Yeah, not full adult, but I can't like escape the idea of like what the hell did they talk about?
And they're like in a relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to. You would think you have to talk.
You would think.
Some. Some. Well, he's not coaching now, so he's probably home a lot more. Yeah. Oh, sure. So it may not last that long.
I was going to say that usually that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. I know.
It's kind of healthy when the guy's going for a while.
Yeah. On the road,
it gives you plenty of time to fuck her jiu-jitsu master.
Listen, man. Trevor Lawerence got a huge payday. He's now the highest paid quarterback. All right, in NFL history, all of that good stuff. Okay.
Resetting the market. Next guy up. And, so there's two things going on here. So, number one, the owners are eyeing the quarterback salary cap because what's going on now is basically each new guy, no matter pretty much what level you're on, you just have to top the last guy. Yeah. Salary cap wise. So who knows what this number can get to? It's getting to crazy numbers. Well, this is why you had rookie salary cap stuff.
Yeah,
like a rookie pay scale. That's why you had it in the NBA.
Who was that? Was that Stafford? Because remember,
I think it was. Was it Sam Bradford?
Sam Bradford.
I think.
That's
You had it in the NBA at one point too.
Yeah.
Where it's just like every year you're the new top pick and you got to beat the prior year, and at the end of the day, okay, you're a super good prospect, but we're not sure. Yeah. There's a level where you haven't done it, and to be tied up with these guys with that, they finally stepped in and said, hey, but any of these moves, can be read no other way than please save us from ourselves. Because we're not making good decisions and we're screwing our franchises by paying certain guys too much money.
Owners, you say okay.
At the end of the day, any type of salary cap structure, quarterback scale is literally save me from myself because I haven't made good decisions and I've torpedoed my franchise in making some of these decisions.
Is it that?
Yes.
Is it that, or is it's the way of business? And we don't agree with that way of business because.
What do you mean by way of business?
Because you're cornered. Because if he's okay, take Trevor Lawerence because he is a good study for this. He's an above average quarterback right now. Who knows if he can get better or whatever, right? If they don't pay him, you potentially lose him. Okay, so that can hamper your franchise as well. It's not about making a right decision or that It's not about making that decision to pay him or lose him, and if that is the decision where it's going to hamper our franchise or not. It's more so about, okay, if you put this salary cap in place, okay, I don't have to adhere to the current way of business, the current business model. I think it's the business model that they have a problem with.
I think I understand where you're going with that, but I don't necessarily agree because I think the problem with this is it's the position and not trusting yourself because it's like each new guy becomes the new market standard guy. And the next guy up isn't necessarily the best guy up.
Right.
And so that's what you're saving yourself from. If you put in some sort of a cap, you know exactly what it is. There's not going to be a lot of negotiation or any of that. There's not going to be a lot of leverage. It's like, okay, top tier quarterback equates with, $48 million a year or whatever, and we know we're going to pay that, and we know it's a fixed cost. We can deal with that, and what have you. What we don't want to do is like be the first team that pays $65 million for a quarterback when he's not necessarily Pat Mahomes.
You know what the potential issue is too? What kind of language are you going to put in there to determine what a top tier quarterback is? What's going to stop Trevor Lawrence agent from wanting that? And then what? We're going to have Mahomes, Lawrence, Daniel Jones making 48 a year, all of them.
Well, it'll be like the NBA, where there will be a max, and if you have something resembling the guy, you're gonna pay the max for
all pro.
Yeah.
Like the NBA is like whatever. All first.
Yeah,
team.
they could tie it to performances or achievements, but they don't even necessarily have to do that. Like if you just cap out quarterback pay at $48 million a year, like it makes it simple in the sense that unless you really want to move on from the guy, you're just going to extend him at a max deal, and that's it. And it is what it is. And you're not redefining the market on a 9th or 10th best quarterback in the league, which that might fit Trevor.
Yeah.
And now he's the highest paid guy. We're not going to do that. Like we'll almost look at quarterbacks in tiers and be like, okay, well, the top 10 guys are probably worth the max of whatever that is, and then the next 10 guys are probably not worth that, and the other 10 guys, we're trying to find a way for them to pass away so we can replace them. I'm not quite sure the logistics, or you could go, like you said, you could go the NBA route where it's connected to your performance, and you can get kickers if you meet certain performance criteria.
Because the way it is now, I shout out to Coach. He commented, the way it is now, the only way to go about it is like the way Dallas Cowboys are going about it, and even that is risky because you got Dak, and they have went through the like, for example, for Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars had another year or two. They could have waited. They didn't have to pay him now.
Yeah.
The issue with that is if you wait a year or two, instead of the whatever 50 it is now a year, it's going to be 60. It might be 70, 65, right. 70. Dallas Cowboys are like, okay, Dak. We're not at the $60 million a year or whatever it is now to pay a quarterback per year. We're going to wait. The issue is if you wait, the Dallas Cowboys, they are waiting. After this year, he's a pure free agent. He can go anywhere he want to go after this season. You can't tag him. You can't do anything. Right. Okay, so you're at the mercy of what other teams would want to pay him. Okay, and if he wants to come back to Dallas, but as it's currently constructed, that's the way you have to do it, because he's a good quarterback, but he didn't get you where you wanted to go last year, and he some of that was on him.
Yeah, no, I think, we've talked about this a ton. The quarterback, like truly great quarterback, you could pay whatever, and it's going to be a bargain.
Yeah.
But there's just not that many guys. And all these other dudes, you're kind of forced to pay these really high market value, or you're forced to extend guys on deals that are going to maybe take them past their prime or whatever. At the end of the day, you could like certain things about Dak, and I think I watched the Jags closely this year. Trevor's good, but he's definitely not great.
Right.
There's too many mistakes. There's too many dead possessions, and it's just like he's not irreplaceable. And like teams have operated for a long time out of fear. When they get something resembling a franchise quarterback, face a franchise guy, they're petrified to lose him.
Yeah.
The Ravens went through it.
Yeah.
And the reality is Lamar had a fantastic season, and he shit the bed in the playoffs like he always does. And so they're really no better than they've ever been. Like, what did we just do this for?
Yeah.
Now they rolled the dice. He went out into the market. He could have got some offers. They, found a dead market. And, most of the year when he's playing great, everybody looked bad. When he played poorly in the playoff, it's like, okay, this is why he is what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cold reality. But, like, if you're not going to be a championship level guy, and you have to have pieces around you or whatever, but like you can't be the reason the team fails.
Yeah.
No matter what those pieces are, if you're a championship guy, you can't be the reason the team fails.
Exactly.
And too many of these guys are. There's not a lot of greatness, and that's what we've got to realize. There's just not a lot.
No.
And again, Trevor Lawerence is a guy, unanimous number 1 player in the country coming out of high school. National champion as a freshman. If he was draft eligible that year, he would have been top pick. He was the top pick the second he was draft eligible. He's had a kind of an up and down start. He showed some promise the year before last, but other than that, the play's been pretty neutral. And I wouldn't be super high about making him the highest paid quarterback in football.
Yeah, especially not when I didn't have to.
Yeah.
You like I said, I stand firm on if you gotta wait it out and you gotta see, and if you have to pay a guy 60, 65, whatever it is, then you have to fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Dallas Cowboys, they're fully prepared to do that. The problem with them is they have 3 premier guys that they're waiting on. I wouldn't suggest that. With Michael Parsons and the receiver CD and Dak, they have to pay them all at the end of this year, which is just not going to be possible.
They'll have to gut the roster in other areas.
You know what I mean?
To do that, yeah. And that's why I despise the salary cap in football. I just I don't like, as a fan, I don't like a situation where, players can develop in a situation and then, like, literally once you pay people, you got to let people go.
It's too much money in football for that to even be a fucking thing. Yeah. At the very least, go back to the NBA old model where you can go over the salary cap if that's your player.
You can have like proprietary rights on certain players and
at least move to that model.
Yeah. And I do think, there really is an art to selecting and developing players, particularly later in the draft. And, when you talk about, like, the work the Chiefs did, recently with some of the guys, McDuffie and Pacheco and Snead, and had to let Snead go.
We had to let Snead go.
And that's a shame.
Yeah, we got Snead in, the 4th round, 3rd or 4th round?
That's an absolute shame to the game of football. Like, he's in a great situation to perform individually, and now he's got to go somewhere else and secure a bag, and I hate it. I just hate it. It's just not the way.
We had to choose between him and Chris Jones.
Yeah.
How do you think they did on that anyway? That decision? Yeah, you have to go Chris.
Chris is such a key guy to that team, that locker room. I mean, he brings an element of just, great performance on the field, but also great personality.
Yeah,
and that's important, man.
Yeah.
I think that's underestimated. Hurley talks about it a lot. If you have one bad character in the locker room, it changes the whole dynamic of what you're doing, and it's true.
Yeah.
There's a special thing when you get a group that's connected, and you got to value that above anything else in team sport.
No, you do. All right, before we move on to our next topic here, I want to give a quick shout out to Lake Nona Careers.com. Okay, another black business owner. But if you are in the Lake Nona area, Orlando period, and you can commute to Lake Nona, check out LakeNonaCareers.com. If you're looking for the job or you're looking for a higher paying job, whatever the case may be, check out LakeNonaCareers.com. All different kind of jobs and positions that they have.
But it's geographically specific to Lake Nona?
Yeah. Those positions, those jobs are going to be in the Lake Nona area and surrounding area. Okay. Alrighty. So definitely check that out. All right, here. So what we'll do here, okay, is we'll go between a couple of hot topics here, and then we'll get to some basketball. All right. The first one I had here is hails from Louisiana, home of Lil Wayne. All right. All public schools. All right. New law requires all public school classrooms to display the 10 Commandments.
On stone tablets, or is paper okay?
All the pictures I see are like stone tablets.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm mildly intrigued if we're stone tablets. But if it's just paper, I'll wipe my ass with that shit.
Does this move you any kind of way, do you think?
I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
I again, separate church and state, separate church from humanity. It's useless, man. It's useless. The 10 Commandments, like, why are we displaying this for everybody? The 10 Commandments are like a Christian thing. There's other religions. There's people who don't believe in religion. They don't need to be inundated by the 10 Commandments. And this is the thing, and we talked about education in an earlier segment, and I stand on that. I have no problem at all if you're going to have a class offered or based on the study of religion. to study it, to hear, okay, I know what the Ten Commandments are. I also know what, the Quran is or whatever. That's fine. That's education. But like hanging the 10 Commandments in a classroom like a plant is purposeless. It's kind of weird psychological manipulation that this is around you as you're a little kid growing up in school, and somehow it's going to get almost kind of like some false emphasis because it's in my classroom.
But just for argumentative purposes, some of those commandments are like just life things you should go by, church or not. You know what I mean?
Which
like
one?
thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal.
I don't agree with that.
Come on, man.
I don't.
But just talking about,
I do not agree with that at all.
But you have all these kids, they're watching all these movies and shows and YouTube and all this stuff, and just to have like, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not, lie, bear false witness or whatever. Okay, now there's some that I don't agree with, the whatever.
Covet the other man's wife. Wife banger over here.
Yeah. But for the most part,
you passed on the pastor's wife. Maybe you do believe in that commandment.
I did.
So I know. I mean, again, like we can't fool. Like here, I mean, this is where we go about the truth. You could have classroom rules. You could have like things or whatever that are in the classroom that kind of like maybe emphasize some of the beliefs, the stealing, the lying, the killing or whatever. It does not have to be in the specific form of the 10 Commandments.
What if Jeff Dahmer was in this classroom?
You think he's going to give a shit?
I'm just saying, we can, you can stop the next Jeff Dahmer.
Do I have a gay black classmate I can kill and eat for dinner? Like, no, he doesn't worry about this. Like, you're not. You're just not, man. You're just not. I mean, I do think, like, for the, like, education, it can be influential. Like, you can kind of, like, position things in a way that maybe psychologically people are going to have to do that. This is what they're trying to do with this. But the 10 Commandments are antiquated, and they're a single religion. I don't think they're a place to be hanging in school all the time. Like, if you're going to do a study, you're going to have, like, Religions of the World month or semester. I get it. You put that there, but you put some other stuff from other religions that deliver a message. But, like, you also, like, be real. Like, what are you really doing with this? You're trying to push this agenda of Christianity on all public students in Louisiana. It's unnecessary. It's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Let people, educate people and let them reach their own decision on what the best religion for them is, even if it's no religion at all.
Oh, wow, the private schools are learning shit that really matters.
Are they really?
I think so.
I thought they were just doing quaaludes in the locker room.
Some of that, too. They're doing both. You could do both. And when you're that young, I don't know about me at this age.
Quaalude will wipe you out for about 6 months.
I think the worst show we ever did, or I ever did, in here, those guys had some weed outside, and I took a couple puffs before coming in.
You were yourself.
I was done the entire show. I was like, "There's no way I'm doing this again."
Really? Good.
I can't do both. But back in the day, I think I'm pretty sure I could.
But you're learning from your mistakes. That's
growth. It, man. That's what you have to do. Either that, or those guys just have some extremely strong stuff.
I'm sure both are true. Those guys out there seem pretty seasoned.
More seasoned than me. Tell you that much. Yeah, man.
Those guys out there we're not going to name. That's great.
All right, let's go to the next one here. What did I have? So we have this Iman thing, right? And shout out to Iman. I was telling Pink before the show started. Iman Shumpert he's a good actor. He's a solid. I don't want to overdo it, but when you watch a show or a movie and people stick out, like, man, they just should have found another person.
Right.
Like, he's not that. He fits in. He's a good, solid actor, and I'm sure he can grow into being a really good actor.
I'm kind of amazed because it literally turns my stomach to listen to him talk.
Yeah.
His expressions, the way he tells a story, I just fucking hate
And see, I haven't seen too much of him like podcast stuff like that. I don't really click on it.
Yeah, I've seen too much,
so
man.
you may be right on that. But if he's given words to say and he's not creating his words, he's reading off a script. His memorization is really good. I'll tell you that.
I might have to
no,
watch
check it out.
something.
Check it out. Trust me.
What show's he on?
That's the that's the power
Book
one of the power
17,
books.
chapter 4.
Yeah, one of the power books, 50 Cent power books.
It got out of control with power, man. It really has.
He's canceling 2 of them, right?
Good.
And he's moving to something new.
Yeah, pare it down, man.
But those actors are like they're not happy about that.
Of course they're not. They got steady work and now they don't.
So, former NBA star, you went a little heavy on that. Iman Shump wants half
former NBA role player.
Yeah, there you go. Wants half of Teyana Taylor's pre-marriage royalties. And of course, they say his finances were revealed during this. Okay, so the pair announced their separation in 2023, and various allegations from both parties have been widely...
somebody disputed. Somebody said he's on the Chi.
That's the goddamn Chi. I feel bad.
Yeah.
It is the Chi.
Bubba, self-proclaimed TV and movie expert.
I am.
You lost the title. It's gone.
Kiki, you're supposed to text that information. Over here exposing me.
Bubba was exposed.
All right, it is the Chi, and I love the Chi.
All right,
I love the Chi. The Chi is better than Power. Okay.
Good.
All right. Yes. Okay. They announced their separation. Okay. And let's see here. Sources tell us that that in court it was revealed that Iman has asked the judge to give him half of Teyana Taylor's royalties from projects before they were married. Now, the thing is that Iman helped her on a couple of those projects, like he helped write and things.
Oh, did he?
So that's another
before
piece.
their relationship or marriage.
Yeah.
They're probably still smashing.
Yeah, exactly.
All
right. Now.
Let's collaborate.
One source also details Iman's finances. We're told that Iman spends $112,500 per month. That is said to include over $14,000 per month on eating out, $14,000 on his podcast, the one you said is not that awesome, and over $6,000 per month on his video music production. Okay. However, sources tell us that he requests to pay $8,000 per month in child support. Okay.
He requests to pay that or get that from her?
No, that he requests to pay.
Oh,
so they're trying to
paying $8K.
Yeah, and
okay.
they put that there to outline like, okay, he's spending all of this. He's spending $6,000 a month on video music production. He's spending over $14,000 per month on eating out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's only that's the way they framed it. He's only wanting to pay $8,000 on child support. Okay.
How much money does this kid need? Like seriously,
yeah.
We don't. You too often you don't look at that.
Yeah.
Like you look at it like, like what does the person make? Let's just take away. That's punitive.
Yeah.
That's not pragmatic. Like pragmatic is what is the cost of this child, and there's a reality with this couple. I mean, they both have a decent amount of money, so it's not like somebody is jobless and the other person's bringing in $2 million a year. And you want to find a balance so that you're not, in a trailer in DeLand when you're with your mom and that you're in, Windermere with your dad.
Right.
I kind of get that. But it's like these people have a good amount of money. You don't measure, like, what the cost of the child is by how much he spends in other categories. It's just not the way to do that.
You're saying it should be predicated upon how much each child needs.
Right.
So you want to change. I think I'm with you on this, right? So you want to change the law to how much does each individual child need, and whether you're whatever Bill Gates or whether you're Michael Johnson, who's the truck driver in Tampa Bay,
the
Florida.
Olympic gold medalist. Okay. Oh yeah, the guy driving a truck. I forgot it. Yeah, certainly to a degree. Like that's what I'm saying.
To a degree.
So you're like, because here's the reality. Like the mom has her money of her own, he has money. So it's not like you have this crazy disparity.
Okay.
When the child or children is with their mom, there's already a solid lifestyle going on, and then when they go with the mom, there's a solid lifestyle going on
both sides.
Yeah. So what we're creating there, like that money's not needed.
When there's
each
when
one
both
of
parents,
these people could independently raise a child from a financial standpoint.
Okay.
Like you are talking about a different dynamic. Like if somebody gets married, tells the the woman not to work and be the homemaker, and it's that way for 10 years, and her career loses any traction, and he's maybe he's a guy who makes like 1.5 a year, and now there's a divorce. It's like, well, she doesn't have much earning income, and so when she's out the door, if you're not providing a good amount of child support, the kid's financial circumstances change quite a bit when he's with his mother, and if she gets primary custody, the course of his life could change. But that's not what we're talking about here.
No.
And they're trying to make this argument, this guy's spending $14K a year on food, or a month on food, and he's only going to pay a little more than half that for his kid. It's just, it's dummy math.
Now, do you take away anything from Iman being a man who was formerly an NBA, wanting to take away from the woman, in this case, Teyana Taylor, which normally in this case is always the opposite way around? Do you take anything away from that?
I don't like it when both people have decent money.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
But you don't like it from either side. You don't like the woman taking away from the man, or the man taking away from the woman.
Correct. That's where I stand on it.
Okay.
Now, if there's a legitimate disparity, if he wasn't an NBA guy, if he was like an Uber driver that she took a liking to, and whatever, and she's making whatever $1 million a year, like I get, like, and he's gonna have the kid with him as well, and like again, same principle. If there's a huge income disparity, and it would materially affect the quality of the child's life when they're with the lower income partner or parent, then there should be some attempt to balance that. I understand that. I get that. Because you're going to create internal trauma with the kid in those two environments. And that should be protected to the extent it can be. But when both these people have a good amount of money, you don't need to be haggling under this or that. Now, when I first read the headline that we've posted, pre-marriage royalties, I'm like, nah, that's crazy. That's a reach. Like, what did he have to do with that? But if he actually was involved in making, records or whatever that made that income, that's a different argument. And really take this out of a relationship and make that a business dispute.
Yeah.
Because if you had something to do with that you weren't compensated for, like, that's no different than, like, if you're producing a song that I'm recording and I'm cutting you out of the deal. We have a business problem. We don't have a relationship problem.
Yeah.
And that's why people need to look at stuff for what it is.
Yeah.
Stop putting this craziness into a relationship that just went bad.
But I think he'll get burnt on that, because I'm sure none of that was discussed, and they were like, whatever, having sex together, but not married. And he just threw her some lyrics, maybe threw her a couple of beats while they're smashing, and nothing was written out, nothing was signed, no business.
And it looks, it does. It looks petty. It looks bad.
Yeah.
When you're years down the road, say, hey, I want to get paid with that. Why didn't you want to get paid when we're together? Like, why don't we make this a business and not something else? So that he's definitely not on a good footing, I think, either way.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah.
Either way. You had something else?
No,
because I was gonna say, when you was talking, you was like, well, what if he was an Uber driver? Uber drivers, they put it into it. But I was thinking, like, man, should they shoot their shot if like a star gets in their car? It could be a tad bit risky because you have the ratings, but I don't think like a star rating would mean more than the next average person. I think you just hit 5 stars or 1 star or whatever and put your little thing in there, and that's it.
What type of shot are you gonna shoot?
I'm saying, if Teyana Taylor gets in the back of your Uber car and she's single, like, do you spark up conversation and try to?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no risk in that, and I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Like, if you're driving an Uber or whatever, and like somebody gets in the back that is the appropriate sex for you to engage in, like, you're gonna flirt, be a little charismatic, see if you get a vibe. Like, that's not doing anything wrong.
Some people don't like to be talked to, and then I imagine stars would be even a little extra if they're identified once they get in the car.
I think, like, it's like any human interaction, though. You just got to read it.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be plenty of stars that they get in there. They're not looking at you. They're not engaging. They're giving you every nonverbal sign that I'm not here to chat with you, and you'll get that. There's another situations where they get in the car and like whatever, they've been just stuck in their life for the last 24 hours, and it's like a 30-minute ride to the airport. They get to cut loose and be like. It just is what you're reading that, and again, it's just like, you just got to read the room on that.
Yeah.
But that's with everybody. I mean, sometimes you get in a car and you're having a bad day. You got a million things going on. It's like, you don't need to talk to the driver or whatever. it's like I'm not in the mood for that. I've got stuff I've got to do.
Yeah.
But other times you're like, you might have time. Like,
Yeah.
It's just not concrete. Like, and we talked about too. Like sometimes when people like maybe they got some music and they see a celebrity on a chance, like you got to take the chance.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to read the clue. If the person's just not down for any of this, catch quick, keep it moving. If they're going to engage you and, what do you got to hear? Can you sing something? Can you rap something for me? Like, take the shot.
Man, now that's a perfect thing. You're an Uber driver and you're a musician, whatever.
I'm sure they're out there.
Pop that thing in, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't even say it. Don't even say this is me.
Yeah, no.
Bob it in. And, you check the review, see if they're bobbing a little bit.
Hey, Bob, we're in business.
We're in business, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
I like that.
I like that. I do like that. All right. Let's I'm going to interject one here before we go to basketball here. We have 2 basketball topics. I am going to interject story time.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we'll end the show on basketball. That's what we'll do there. All right, so let me get situated here. And, all right, so took a week off, but we're back with part 3 of the Atlanta story series, okay?
You know, I was kind of irritated that we took the week off last week.
Yeah.
Because Brazil played the USA here in Orlando in soccer.
Yeah.
And it was actually a fun game.
Yeah.
And I was asked, do I want to go? Like 2-3 weeks before. And I'm like, oh, we got a show that night. I'm out.
Oh,
then
man.
we roll up, and it's like the day before, we're like, yeah, not going to do a show. Finals is going on. And then I'm watching the game on TV. It was actually a good game. And I'm like, damn, I could have been there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And still made it back for the second half of the basketball game.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would have been good timing.
Yeah.
That would have been good timing. So where we left off is I'm in Atlanta, and I'm working good, okay? I finally, it was a slow start. I got the job. I'm good there, okay? And, of course, I left the older woman I was talking to in Orlando, kind of left her hanging in the balance, okay? So where I'll start this story is that I now, which you've heard some of in separate stories, but I'm going to just lay it out here for this purpose, is now while I'm up in Atlanta and I'm working good, okay, I'm working in a sort of a fast food joint, Pollo Tropical,
yeah.
Okay, as a recruiter. I'm working there. And all of a sudden, every day I'm starting to get random messages on my phone, okay? Yes. And these are like extremely mad messages. Oh, F you, Bubba. You're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? All of this and that. And these messages are coming in, maybe I'll say about 10 to 20 times a day. I'll have and they're coming from these unidentified numbers, blocked numbers or whatever. Yeah. And I'm also getting calls, okay, so from all of these different numbers. And every time I'll answer, there'll be nobody on the other end.
Oh, so you did pick up some of the calls?
Well, in the beginning, of course, because it's just a random number call.
I don't answer random numbers at all.
You got to answer it. Well, first of all, I have to answer random numbers at this time. Remember, my recruiter clip when I said when you're looking for jobs, you have to answer every.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to answer every call. So because I'm working at Pollo, but I really want this human resource job. Okay, that's what I'm up here for. So I'm answering every call, and so it's really pissing me off because I'm answering every call. And along with the 10 to 20 text messages a day are also like 10 to 20 calls a day. Okay.
So when you pick up a call,
there's nothing.
Nobody says anything.
It's just breathing.
You hear? Okay, I was going to ask.
Yeah.
You hear breathing?
You hear breathing.
Is it like labored breathing?
It's just like normal breathing. It's not like anything scary or anything. Just normal breathing, like somebody's on the other end, but they're not saying anything. Okay. And this literally goes on for the 4 years, or 4 years that I'm in Atlanta. Every single fucking day.
That's wild.
Are these calls and text messages going on? Okay. Yeah. But as the time progressed, as I told the story, I make mistakes along the way to where the person, whoever this person is attacking other people. Okay, I as I'm going on in Atlanta, I leave Pollo Tropical, and I get my first recruiting job, my first HR recruiting job. Okay, and while I'm there, I get this award. I'm doing well. I do really well in the job, and I get this award, right? And I post it on Facebook, and that's a mistake because I have the award and my job's name. The company's name is on the award. Okay. Now we have 5 branches in Atlanta of this place.
In Atlanta.
In the Atlanta area.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 different branches of, same company, but 5 branches. Yeah. Okay. This person calls 3 branches or 3 of the 5 to get to get me and my, and finally they get to my branch and they're asking for me. All right. And she asked my manager. Now my manager at the time, man, this lady is fine as hell. She's a little, I'll say at the time, she's probably like 40. Okay, she's probably like 40.
Okay.
But she's fine as fine could be, man.
Yeah.
Slim, Coke bottle shape, and she's hood but classy. She's like
right in your wheelhouse.
Right in my fucking wheelhouse. This type of job here is on one of those it's a staffing company essentially, right?
Yeah.
Anybody in HR and recruiting knows it's a shit job. You know what I mean? You're dealing with the $9, $10, $11 an hour jobs. So those come with those people who work those jobs. Okay, right. So you're dealing with those headaches, and there's 50, 100 jobs you're working on each day. It's a ton of them.
Right.
And you're dealing with all of those people every day. It's a shit job. But I love coming to this job every single day because I get to see this lady. I get to interact with her, and she's like cool. You know what I mean? She's talking, she coming, she twisting, and she doing all this, and she know what she doing. And not only that, but I'm the only man in that whole office.
I was literally gonna say, what did the competition look like?
No, I'm the only man in the office. There's 6 women and me. Okay, so that's another reason why I like coming to the job.
You're the only option. You're the man of the desert island.
So the good thing for me is I get, she's a black lady, the manager of the branch, and then there's 2 other black girls and the rest are Hispanic. So I have a great rapport with all of these women. You know what I mean? So when they're calling, she actually gets my manager by chance. Well, she never answers the fucking phone. She makes us answer. And she's going on about, does this person work here? Oh, he's such a piece of shit, and this and that, and you need to fire him. He does this, does that. Right. And so she brings me in the office, and she's like,
so wait, when she gets the call, though, it's not in front of you. It's not like
no. She's in her office.
Okay.
I have no idea
Okay.
I have no idea she's even called the other branches.
Right.
Okay.
That'd be funny if she's like in the next cubicle. And you're kind of hearing, what are you saying about Bubba? You're going, what?
Yeah. So she brings me in, and she's telling me about this person calling, and hey, you gotta get this together. This girl's calling, like, what's going on? You know what I mean? You out here slinging thing like that? That's how she's talking, right? And I'm like, no, man, I don't know. I really don't know who it is. They've been calling my phone for like the past couple of weeks, and this, and that. And then the big manager comes in, who's in Alabama. She hardly ever comes to our office.
Okay.
She flew in for this specific situation because they're calling the other branches as well.
Right, okay.
And she's like, hey, this is stopping bit. This is, whatever. Messing with our business and things like that. You got to get this under wraps and under control. And I'm like, hey, I really don't know who this is. This is just whatever. Whatever.
There's a lot of possibilities.
That situation blows over, right?
Did you just stop calling?
No. I mean, yeah, she stops calling. She stopped calling the supervisor. And the reason why she stopped calling the job is because she gets another target, okay? Because I eventually get into a relationship in Atlanta, okay? And when I get that award, you know what I mean? I'm with my girlfriend in that picture, holding the award.
Couples picture.
But that award had the job name, okay? But I tagged my girlfriend in that fucking thing. She goes on there, she gets the girl, starts sending messages and calling her, and then this girl, like I told you, she has her mom and her grandma all on her Facebook page. So she gets the grandma off the Facebook page.
Oh no.
The grandma has her phone number attached to her Facebook page, and she starts sending her like messages and all of that, and then she sends a fake dick pic to her phone. Saying, "Oh, Bubba was just with me last night. How can he be with your granddaughter? And he's just such a terrible guy."
What was Grandma's reaction to this?
No, she's just like, "What is this man sending my phone? And is this you?" And I'm like, "Come on, man, you know it's not me. I've been in Atlanta." And so
you didn't go into, that's not me. I'm much bigger. Ask your granddaughter.
That's your granddaughter. So what happens is that from that situation.
You think Grandma masturbated?
No, man. No.
You sure?
I'm not sure, but no.
I think she did. Probably been a while. Grandpa dead?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Hands down, she rubbed one out. When you say a fake dick pic, like what are we?
No, I'm saying fake as in it's not me.
Okay.
It's just it's another random black guy. But the face is not. The face is not in.
You show the face too?
No. I'm saying the face is not in
okay.
it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
All right.
You just know your own equipment and can vouch it wasn't you.
Well, not only that, the environment, the leg. All right. So
quad development's quite impressive. This guy must never skip leg day.
So listen, I had it, baby lose it. Okay. So that situation happens right now. Over time, I find out it is the older girl that I left in Orlando.
Really?
Okay, because my friend is really good in technology and this and that, and she could place where, because this person is calling from these like Google lines or whatever.
At some point, there's got a way to connect the dots.
Yeah, so she could track the city where it was coming from, and that was exactly where that girl had lived, and that's the only person I had dated from that area. Now I don't, so I don't find that out though until like I said, the 4 years had done went by. Okay, but so this whole 4 years I'm being tortured.
It's like you went to college.
This was my crazy college experience.
Or you played for the Heat for 4 years.
Yeah, I know. While D-Wade was there. Yeah. But so yeah, I have all of that going on now. One thing that my cousin wanted me to bring up that's not really a part of the story, but I'll bring it up quickly here, okay, is at this time, like I told you when I left, I'm in good physical big shape.
Yeah.
So one thing we're doing at this time is we're going to play a lot of ball. Now what's interesting is my cousin, he's like whatever, 6'4", 6'5". He's like a real basketball player. He played whatever. He played ball, okay? And so at the time when I'm coming up, not only does he have no idea I play ball, but I'm trying to tell him, and he's just like, whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You don't look the part.
Don't look the part. I never heard anything about you, whatever. And but I'm playing ball with some guys that he knows when we're doing those Edgewater runs, right?
Yeah.
But not necessarily Juan runs, but Juan did come a few times. But these guys are like guys who played on those Edgewater teams right before D-Wash was there. Okay. And one guy who passed away was actually my cousin's like real friend. They played together coming up a lot. And so one of those days, whatever, I had a really like hot, like I didn't miss the whole fucking day. Yeah. And so and it was like whatever, a week or two before I was moving up into Atlanta. So I say, man, call my cousin and let him know. You know, tell him, man. Tell him I'm a better shooter than him. You know what I mean? You remember that. So I call him and they tell him. So I move up to Atlanta. And the thing about it is I was playing in a completely different way than what he would like, right? So he kind of changed. He changed my game. Because
I've been trying for years.
You didn't see me before this, so that's even after him, right? So yeah, so he changed my game for two reasons. On defense, okay, just playing a more aggressive style of defense and all of that, and made my defense a lot better. But shooting wise was, first of all, taking shots, right? Because you could take slightly contested shots and things like that. I was only shooting when I'm wide fucking open.
Right.
And whether you're a good shooter, decent shooter, you're going to make more than you miss when you're wide open if you're a decent shooter, right? And then just the way you move on the court, sprinting the spots, as you say, sprinting the spots, not fucking, just cutting to cut down the lane and things like that. Sprint the spots to where you sprint to your shooting spots, okay?
Right.
And when you're in the hole, like you say, sprint out. and take the shots, things like that. He was just
good.
showing and teaching and things like that. All right, wanted to add that in. The last thing about this particular story is a new girl that I meet. Okay,
not the girlfriend in Atlanta, and not the
the girlfriend in Atlanta. I needed to mention because of the crazy stuff. From the girl.
Gotcha.
Okay. This new girl I meet comes from my last little bit of tenure at Pollo Tropical. Okay. All right. So I meet this girl. Now this girl is interesting.
Gave yourself a parting gift.
Because she's the first Atlanta, second Atlanta girl that I was with. The first was just the one in the back seat of the car, but this one I was really like talking to and dating. Okay.
Oh, yeah, dating. Okay. now we're dating.
So this is my first real Georgia peach. Okay. And she was really interested because she was a tiny mite.
Was it a shaved peach?
It was.
All right.
Bare shaven. And she was a tiny mite, man. She was like one of those really short women, okay?
Like
and
5 foot or less?
Like 5'1", 5'2", like really short. Red, like red as red could be, really light. And she had this chest. It's going to sound funny. I've never seen a chest like this before.
Okay.
No titties.
What do you mean?
That's what I mean.
Like just totally flat.
When like 0% of chest. Almost as if like something happened, but it didn't. It almost is like it was
a double mastectomy.
Oh yeah, almost like it was like some crazy surgery or something.
Wow.
But this was natural. It was just like 2 bumps. Like I don't even know how to explain it. I would have to like draw
she had nipples or tiny nipples too?
Like like small bumps. Like the nipples were the chest.
Oh wow, okay.
Like there was nothing.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean? Like my chest is way bigger.
Okay.
If that visual.
B cup Bubba.
But she had a nice ass. Okay. So that did it for me. I'm not a titty man anyway. What do I care?
Who is a titty man?
You know what I mean?
If
whatever.
Somebody announces themselves as a titty man, I kind of think less of them. Like, what do you do with titties?
A lot of white guys are titty man. I don't want to. Don't knock them out. Whatever floats your boat.
What do you know about white guys?
I don't click on their porn.
Some sort of expert? What's going on here?
Anytime a white guy's like smashing a black girl in the porn thing, I automatically skip. That's
really? Those are all my favorite scenes. I'm in them.
So listen, man, we're going at it, and we're doing like pretty good. And she lives close by my my job, so like I would stay over sometimes. You know what I mean? And that was good because I'm telling my cousin, my cousin's like, oh yeah, you got something now, right? You know what I mean? So kind of like, yeah, man.
Were you still living at your cousin's house at the time?
Yeah, still living at my cousin's house at the time.
So it gets a night off from you.
And how it ends.
Bubba's not home. It's naked yoga time.
How it ends is how things always end. She wants more. And I just wasn't in a position to give her more. Technically the first Atlanta peach. I want to see the other bag of Atlanta peaches. I don't want to settle with this bag. This is a nice bag.
Yeah. But, not ready to give it all up for her.
Yeah, man.
All right. Did you at least talk this one out, or did you just disappear?
No, I talked this one out. She was a teacher. She was good. She was cool, man. She was a teacher. She was cool.
Would you circle back?
I did not circle back
yet.
No, that's over.
Oh,
that's over. I tried to circle back like a few years, like right before I was leaving to come back to Orlando.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Farewell tour.
Yeah, farewell tour. But no, she wasn't having that. So.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad you couldn't wear her down.
No.
Did she get a boob job by then?
No, man.
Damn.
No.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah.
Was it weird when you were dealing with her with the no boobies?
At first, yeah.
Yeah.
At first, yeah, because it was the first time I'd ever seen something.
Yeah, like and get used to it.
Yeah, get used to it. I had to get used to it. Yeah.
Signs of growth.
And she was the type too that like she liked punishment. So like not like not like in fucking whatever 50 Shades of Grey type, but just like she only enjoyed like pounding.
Really?
And
she wasn't there for the foreplay. It's Pound Town only?
straight pound town.
Really?
I mean, every woman like some level of foreplay just to get it ready or whatever, just to rev the engine up. But like,
did she like getting spanked?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
On the ass or elsewhere?
On that, well, definitely no chest
I was
spanks.
gonna say, you could take a belt across those non-existent titties. See what happens.
But like nothing like affected her. Like I couldn't get like strong emotion out of her. Like she was
like you would just be.
She was a monster.
You'd just be like spanking her ass, and she'd just be looking at you like
not
what's next?
A little bit of emotion. I'm talking about like during the Pound Town intercourse.
Oh, during Pound Town, okay.
You know what I mean? Like she was a monster. You know what I mean?
Maybe you weren't a monster. have we explored that possibility? Damn. That's tough. I don't know.
No, I haven't explored that possibility. All right.
That's funny. You spank her with the hand or the belt?
Hand. We didn't really explore.
Yeah.
I wasn't at the exploration stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just at the basics.
I was at the basics.
All right. Just happened to be getting some.
That was it, man. First Georgia peach. I was excited. All right. Let's go here. Let's see here. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Let's go to some basketball, man. We got 2 basketball topics here. First, we're in Florida, so let's stay in Florida. And let's look at this 7'9" behemoth. Looks like his name is, what is it? Okay. Yeah. So he's a Canadian player, but he has some French ties to him. Okay, now he was initially listed at 7'7", but now, whatever.
Measured, not weighed.
Measured. They measured again.
Wait a guy, he's 2 inches taller.
And now he's 7'9". So we're looking at some highlights here. I want you to assess some of his highlights here. Okay, so.
Yeah.
You see him coming down the court here. How does he move to you?
Very bad.
Very bad?
I hate the movement.
But, I mean, he's 17, 18. Can that change?
No.
No?
No,
kind of are what you are?
Very big on movement patterns are what they are. They don't change. They can be refined slightly. But, like, if you're, like, a guy that runs on the balls of your feet, you're always going to be a guy that runs that way. If you're a guy that runs flat-footed or, like, you're running with, like, ski shoes on, like, you're always going to be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't like his movement at all. He's not fluid. He's not athletic. Everything seems really robotic. He looks like he's destined to play like a villain in like a horror movie, like chasing white people in the forest with some shitty cabin.
I didn't like those. He missed like 2 layups right there at the rim. I don't know.
Yeah. How do you miss layups when you're 7'9"?
Yeah, I mean, and why are you not like just dunking everything? Does it hurt? Does it?
Yeah. Well, but, I mean, like again, his movement pattern is very mechanical and kind of like clumsy. And when you're talking about somebody that tall, like the stress of your movement and what that's going to do over time is big. I mean, there's a reason most 7-foot+ guys have had injury histories.
Yeah.
The body's not really made for high level activity when you're that size, when you're that big. All the the biomechanical dynamics are different. And so I think that this guy looks more like a lumbering oaf than an athlete. And when you the defining thing that when you look at tall guys that are successful and to a degree somewhat durable, they move like smaller men.
Yeah.
Like their body mechanics, like Giannis, he doesn't move like a big person at all.
No.
I mean, what gives you a lot of hope about Wemby is despite his height, he just moves fluidly. He kind of just gracefully moves around the court. And that's not what you see with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's back in there now. Yeah, but like that's the first thing that I look for is the movement. That's why it's the first thing I asked about. Sure. You know, I haven't seen him take a shot yet. It's everything at the rim, which probably should be. And IMG, here goes the rebound and layup. IMG is like a powerhouse for high school, in football and basketball, probably in other sports too.
Yeah.
So all of these guys that are on the court with him are whatever, 4-star, 5-star prospects. So even though I want them to pass him the ball more, like run the offense through him,
they're gonna do their thing.
They're gonna do their thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So look at that score, 63-14.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other team they're playing. They don't look the part of a good team.
Yeah.
They look like a very average high school team.
But, I wonder what is IMG's schedule like full of, because they're always, with those. I know sometimes they play like the Oak Hills and things like that, but I'm talking about their regular schedule. Is it against regular high schools? That's not fair if that's the case.
They'll play games here or there, and so when I first got to Trinity Prep, we ended up playing IMG.
Oh yeah,
like twice, but we didn't know who the hell they were. Like we were looking to pick up some games, and we're like, the IMG, let's go play them. We had no idea. Hicksonball was just down from St. Louis. And the first time we played them, they had Ronaldo Balkman on the team, who was in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then the second year, we were so bold, we played them again, and they had Torian Green, who played for the Gators, and another guy that ended up playing at Penn State. They weren't close to what they are now.
Yeah.
They had one or two really good guys, but that was the rest of the guys. What I suspect, though, and I know it's this way at Montverde, they'll have multiple teams. So that they may not, you may play like an IMG team that could be their second or third team, and they might play a schedule more like local high school type schedule, statewide schedule than a national schedule, and then they'll have like their premier team, which is going to all be probably Division I level guys, and they'll go play Montverdes and those types of
apparently
of
this
teams.
is the premier team.
Yeah. So definitely can do that as well. I mean, a 7'9" guy. I mean, we were talking before the show. I mean, nobody in the NBA has ever been that tall. You've had like 7'6", maybe 7'7", but 7'9". I mean, that's something that hasn't happened before. And it just it depends. I mean, can he stay healthy enough? Will his mobility be sufficient enough to, in combination with his size and length, have some sort of impact in an NBA game? I would definitely say that he has to develop some ability to shoot to have any hope in the NBA. I mean, what we saw here was just some putbacks and stuff around the basket.
Well, wouldn't you agree, for a guy like this who has a raw skill set but has the size, shouldn't he be one of the main ones that takes the development route, not go to college, but take one of those exterior routes?
Yeah. I would think so.
Because to be bogged down at Florida with the classes and
all that sort of stuff. I mean,
even the funky college gameplay. I mean, I know we had the two giants this year that did pretty well. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, Edey and Klingen.
Edey and Klingen, but I guess.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm not a big believer in college basketball as a good developmental tool for pros to begin with. And so, this guy would probably be better served getting in a good developmental situation. But, I mean, I'm not here to say he doesn't have talent, but it is, like, who wants to take the project on? Like, and what's that route? I mean, does he go to, like, the G League? Is that the route? Or, he's obviously not NBA ready, and does he go overseas? Now he's a Canadian guy. I mean, it could be better served if he was maybe a European guy where you could kind of get in their pro system that way, and maybe that's still the best route for him, or that may be where he ends up if he can't cut it in the NBA. But, I don't know. Going to UF is a curious choice. But, again, we don't know anything about this guy. Like, we don't know if he loves basketball. We know somebody's, like whatever. He might want to enjoy college life, and maybe he's a bit of an academic guy or whatever, and that he just wants that experience.
You know who he kind of looked like? What's the talk? is it Bojan? Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
Right?
Toby and Bobby. Yeah, Boban.
Boban.
Yeah.
Boban is what? He's 7 what?
I think he's 7'3", 7'4". He's up there.
He's up there.
Not this.
And he moves rough as well.
Yeah, super mechanical.
They kind of, I know he kind of aged a little bit, but they kind of played him out of the NBA like rotation.
Yeah.
Like the way the NBA is played now.
Yeah.
With the hunting for the switch, you kind of just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like, if you're this guy, like, you really are going to be curious to see the development of Zach Edey and Donovan Clingan.
Yeah.
Because and I didn't realize, Edey's supposedly like 7'4", but Clingan, I think, measured close to 7'2".
Yeah.
And both of those guys, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the NBA because we don't have a lot of those guys.
Right.
There's a couple of great centers, but like those two guys are raw in their own way. Actually, like Edey is a much stronger player than Clingan, like physically stronger. He has a clearer like offensive purpose to his game in the sense that he's going to get down on the block and he's got defined robotic moves that are not going to be affected, and he's going to get those shots off. Clingan, to me, moves better athletically, laterally, just has a more fluid athleticism to his movements, but he doesn't have as refined or defined an offensive game as Edey does. Yeah. But that might work in his favor because I don't know that there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to spend a lot of time throwing the ball into a post guy.
Yeah, anyhow.
And Clingan operating kind of off of alley-oops and rim runs and kind of emerging from the dunker spot, it may be an easier fit in an NBA game than and I don't think, like, that's where, like, to me, Edey's movement patterns are not great. I don't think he has, like, sort of an instinctive fluidity to just find spaces or get to balls and make plays. And I think that to me, he's almost like a player that you have to service. You have to, get him the ball in his spots and do that. In an NBA game, I don't think he's that good that a lot of teams are going to want to set their team up to make sure he gets paint touches. Or if your guy maybe starts coming off the bench or something, and like you got to find a way to impact the game. And that's why I'm a little bit higher on Clingan overall. But if you look at the final, like Edey got his numbers against Clingan. Clingan didn't shut him down, didn't horribly impact him at all. But I do think that the fluidity and a little bit of the versatility makes him a better NBA prospect. This guy for me right now is behind both. But Edey started at IMG. He finished high school at IMG.
Okay.
I think he's also a Canadian. Edey.
Yeah, he is.
And I think at some point he made his way down to IMG, like prior to going to Purdue.
Yeah.
And part of his developmental track was that.
Find this guy. Find Edey. This guy should find Edey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he should do. That's definitely what he should do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought that those 2 summers that Embiid spent with Olajuwon really helped.
Yeah.
And then whatever fucking Jokic is doing,
whatever he's doing.
Whatever he's doing.
He's taking tips from his horses.
It's interesting because when you watch last season, of course, it's Jokic and Embiid, right, versus the other centers. But it's like how the height of Victor, like, didn't affect them at all. Like, Embiid scored 70 on Victor, and then you had Jokic. But to see Victor, the way, like, Bam looked like a inferior player against the height of Victor, really. Like, so if you don't have that offensive skill set that Embiid and Jokic have,
yeah.
My point of bringing that up is maybe these guys, there's only 2 of those guys that I named, right? If you got 25, 26 other centers you're going against, if your height can disturb those other big guys in any kind of way,
yeah,
that could be a plus as well.
But like, again, you get the problem is not just that. Like, so you're gonna also, like, again, be like put in pick and roll and some switches, and you're also gonna probably because of the way he moves, have to play under pick and roll coverage.
Yeah.
And so, guys can shoot. Now, the one thing, like, and that's where Wemby's, like, truly amazing in one of the many ways. But, like, he distorts what an open shot is.
Yeah.
Because even if he's going to play under, or even if he's off the ball to a certain degree, there's a range that he could be off the ball and still block jump shots.
But that's athleticism coming with that.
I agree that.
That these guys.
That this guy does not appear to have.
This guy.
That's why I agree that, like, that's what makes him so extraordinary. Is that, like, again, you think, okay, big tall guy, whatever, athletic, fluid, blocking a bunch of shots at the rim, but it's the blocks that he makes on perimeter shots.
Yeah, because they're putting him in action
those
too.
Those are deeply unsettling, because if you get in the mind of a shooter. Like, how many times is it, a guy catch it and shoot it and whatever, his rhythm, he knows. Like, you begin to feel, like, muscle memory, what open is and when you can pull. And suddenly when that guy's on the floor, you got to start second-guessing what open is.
Yeah.
And you got to start playing where every time I catch, I got to know where he is.
And that disturbs field goal percentages and all that.
Then you're distracted, and you're not going to be able to play at your optimal, shoot at the highest level that you can. And so,
100%.
That's a huge factor. So, again, I don't see that type of athlete here. The reality is, though, he's probably 4 to 6 inches taller than Wemby. So, can he find a way to, with that extra 4 to 6 inches, does that, bring the athleticism close enough or no? My gut instinct is no, based on the limited footage we've seen here. But, that's kind of the struggle.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the last basketball topic we have here is Bronny. Okay,
we're not going to talk about the Celtics becoming NBA champions.
I felt like it was a little old, but I was going to, after this went off.
Okay,
just as the show was ending.
Carry on with Bronny.
So yes, LeBron James, Bronny aren't package deal ahead of the draft. So what a lot of people believe is that that LeBron wants to play with his son so bad that whoever drafts him, that he'll go there.
Yeah.
Now, I still think this is a smokescreen because I still like, So you said that you heard Maverick, right? On a podcast, say give
Rich Paul.
Rich Paul. I'm sorry. Rich Paul give reasonings to why Bronny is not working out for these other teams.
Yeah, so just to kind of go down, ESPN ran an article today that quoted Rich Paul extensively, and his position was, I'm not treating Bronny any different than any other one of my clients. My job, particularly when we're talking about guys that are not lottery picks, is to figure out who's genuinely interested in this player and who's going to give him the best situation. And that situation includes a plan of development and a guaranteed contract. And in the article, he basically dismissed the two-way contract as an effective means of development. And I think the thing with that, when you think about it, is that the two-way contract is a decreased financial commitment to the player. And that being the case, you are more disposable. My investment in you becoming a player that helps my first team is minimal. But if I have agreed to give you guaranteed contract, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, whatever, now my investment in you developing is higher. And I'm going to pay more attention, give more opportunity, and do everything I can to get return on investment. And I think that's basically, he said that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And so if I've talked to teams and they've told me, maybe as a two-way guy, I'm not working out for you. I'm not wasting my time to give you a workout. But if teams have stepped up and said, we're interested and we're talking guaranteed deal, now, okay, I'll have him work out for you. Now, in the context of the article, he went on to say that although there's only been 2 workouts, he mentioned up to 5 teams that have expressed an interest. He included Toronto, he included Dallas, and he included the name escapes me.
No.
I thought I said it earlier. But yeah, he included a 5th team that would potentially do that. And so we'll see what happens. But you think it's maybe a smokescreen to basically get what he's wanted, get what LeBron's wanted all along?
Yeah. 100%. That's what I believe it is. I don't believe him when he says that, because there just has to be more. You just said there's more than 2 teams, right? That's willing to give him. There's 5 teams that's willing to give him a full contract. But then why not work out for those other teams? I know those teams want players in for workouts because they've had other players in for a workout. Yeah. So it just doesn't make sense that they don't want to see him. And to only work out for the Lakers and for Phoenix, it just tells me everything I need to know about where they want to go in this process and how LeBron James ties into that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Even Dallas to that degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, even if the Lakers, do end up drafting him, what that means for him in his career, I have no idea. The Lakers don't even have a coach right now.
Yeah.
So, who knows? I did like the idea of Hurley coming in and coaching and then drafting Bronny and then, seeing if he could help develop that.
And I really didn't.
You didn't?
I think Hurley is an extremely intense guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's suited to the NBA game. I've read a bunch of interviews and a bunch of stuff that he said, about this process. And to be fair to him, he didn't do this flippantly. Like he thought, like he knows, he's well aware that he would have to change some things about how he coaches and how he approaches the game to work at the NBA level. So it's not naive. He's not thinking, I'm Dan Hurley, I've got this figured out, I'll just take what I do here and do it there. He knows that won't work.
Yeah.
And he's aware that changes would have to be made to his approach. I just wonder, from a human standpoint, can he? We all know we should eat better. We all know we should, work out a little bit better, but we don't always do it. And so knowing what you need to do and being able to do it is 2 different things. And so I don't know that he can actually do what he would need to do to be effective in the NBA.
I think he can. I just don't think this was the job for him.
And that's the other point. I felt this. I think this Laker job is a terrible job.
It's a shit job.
Yeah. You have an oversized expectation. You have LeBron in the twilight of his career, and it's just what are you coaching? What are you actually coaching?
Yeah. It's a bad job, man. Yeah. And they're saying JJ's in the league right now. He's but now today, since Detroit let go of Monty, now they're saying Detroit's going to bring in JJ for an interview. And and if the Lakers lose out on JJ as well, just what an awful job that they
bad
did.
Look, yeah.
Yeah, bad look because they undercut it or whatever. Hurley, they didn't offer him enough money for him to even be able to entertain the gig. By all accounts, that's the reasoning.
Yeah, which is weird, but the quoted figure was like $70 million. So it's I don't know what the market is.
Well, he would have came in as like the 7th paid high.
Okay.
Yeah.
With 0 NBA wins, I don't know that's terrible.
I mean, it's kind of the market. It's kind of the thing when you bring in a new coach. You know what I mean? Like Monty wasn't, as heralded, and his new deal, he's number 1, the highest paid coach. You know what I mean? Yeah. When he got the Detroit gig. So that's the thing. So you lose out on JJ. I think that'd be just a really bad look.
Yeah,
really bad look.
And LeBron's playing the leverage game. I mean, he's not. He's going to be a free agent, so he has some mobility. And if he doesn't like the way things are going, like he could, I think the consensus is he's probably back in LA. But I mean, again, he's holding the cards where he could, if they don't do what he wants in the coaching regard, I think he could leave and move on. It's just not an attractive job. They've cycled through some candidates now, and they haven't been able to close. Part of me is like, get Sam Cassell.
Yeah, give him an opportunity.
I mean, he's a veteran NBA assistant at this point. He was a good NBA player and a champion. And I think, what more does he need to do to get a top job?
Yeah.
And I do think, and I remember Sam was at Florida State when I was there. He's a confident guy. I mean, he's got a swagger to him. I think he would not shrink in that job. I think he would go try to do the job in the manner that he thinks it should be done. And I think he'd probably do okay for what it was. But it's also, like we said, not a great job. If you look at Detroit's been bad. They've been kind of dysfunctional in a lot of ways. They don't have great talent, but they have some talent. And they have some talent that's on a similar timeline. When you talk about Cade, when you talk about Ivy, when you talk about Jalen Duren, there's a timeline of guys that can grow and should get better. I mean, I was high on Detroit like 2 years ago when they drafted Ivy and Duren. I thought, hey, maybe this team that can start to do something. And they've stagnated under Monty Williams. And I think Monty Williams has been exposed as a horrible fraud. I mean,
it's something going on there.
Well, he sucks. That's what's going on. The only time Monty Williams was a good coach was when Chris Paul was on his team.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul's made a lot of people look like good coaches.
Yeah.
That's a reality.
But yeah, I don't believe in Ivy and those guys. I like Cade. Cade is literally the only human I like on that roster. So I don't know. Yeah, but at the same time, like you said, he's failed here, he's failed there. So but and Lord knows he got a shit ton of money coming his way just to not coach.
Yeah.
So he's in a great position. You know what I mean?
We're paying you not to be here. We're paying you to stay away.
Man. Yeah. But yeah, man. So Boston did take the championship, but I don't want to necessarily, that's been talked about ad nauseum, but more so from the standpoint of, do you believe in the dynasty talk, and then what team would you put in position next year to challenge them?
I don't like the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just not really big on it. Like, we just had a champion, and it immediately turns to, dynasty, repeats, who are the contenders. We know who basically some of the good teams are. Dallas isn't going to vanish and disappear. I think that Denver still poses a danger. Minnesota seems to be a team on the rise. Boston's very good. They had all the right moves and all the right pieces this year. Deserving champion. And again, when we look at this, they hadn't won in a while. This particular group had not won, but they've had a sustained level of success ongoing for several years. And then this year, kind of like wire to wire. They got out of the gate good. They had the best record in the league for a large chunk of the season, and they got in the playoffs, and they rolled. They lose, I think it's 16-3. This is a deserving champion. Respect what they have, enjoy what they have, but next year is going to be a new year. And, they're going to have to figure it out then. They're probably going to make a few roster decisions. Some are good. Some are, going to be difficult for them to swallow. And other teams are going to do the same. But, just the general horizon of this, you look at a lot of the teams that played well this year that don't have any major problems. They're going to return their core guy. Denver's got all their pieces signed for a bit. Minnesota, I think they probably need to shake a few things up, but they're not disappearing. Edwards is still on the rise. In the East, you don't see that great tender. I think Milwaukee's kind of done as a legitimate contender with Dame, and I think the inevitable decline of Giannis. New York, I'm not buying. The Magic are, had a little bit going on this year, but they're not there. There's no reason to expect Philadelphia without a major signing is going to be any better than they've been. But maybe they pull that off, and maybe that changes this. We consider today, based on what we're looking at, and say there's no reason the Celtics shouldn't command the East again and potentially be back in for a final. But there's injuries, there's all sorts of things that can tip a season and a series.
It's real silly talk, is what it is. And I don't know what year we got here to where you talk dynasty after one, but like last year. I believe the Denver Nuggets team last year was better than this Boston team, and even then for each team, like whatever, since the post KD's Warriors, okay, we're at a new champion pretty much every year, and every year when this new champion wins, whether it's Milwaukee, whether it's Denver, all of these new teams, when they're winning, we start the dynasty talk right after that. But where does that team go that next year? And it's like, because when Milwaukee won, it's, oh my gosh, Giannis, 25, 26 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's the best player in the world. He's in the prime of his career. Look at Chris Middleton. Look at, Brooke. They have all these Drew, all of these amazing pieces. They're going to roll for the next 3 to 4 years. Denver Nuggets. Oh my gosh, Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet.
Right.
One of the best offensive centers we've ever seen. You got Murray, so clutch. MPJ, he's going to get the max, and all of this stuff is so exciting. They're going to win for the next 10 years. It just doesn't happen that way unless you truly have one of those remarkable teams, like I said, like the Warriors with KD, or you got the LeBrons and things like that. And none of these teams have that transformational player. And so now that we're in a space where those guys, the Curry, LeBron, they're aged out, I think we're just in a huge parity league to where if the front office puts it together for Minnesota or for Philadelphia or for, if Denver maybe makes one singular upgrade to that roster, things like that, we're just going to rotate champions. I really do believe that.
And you got to play the games. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you go into these tournaments and it's like anything can happen. Like, I mean, these series can shift game to game, and they often do. And again, Boston's great. They've had a great year. But you can't also deny the fact that, Jimmy Butler gets hurt, Embiid gets hurt. Like their whole road down to the title, there was assisted in some way by a significant injury, and these things turn series. I mean, the last dynasty we had was the Warriors, and in their last final, KD goes down, Clay goes down in the finals. If those two guys are healthy, Toronto never touches a title.
A toast, yeah.
It just is what it is. I mean, and you just can't underestimate that stuff. It's enormous in the success of it. It's so hard to win, even when you have a lot of talent, because you're not the only one with talent. And there's breaks of the game. There's so many things. I mean, like the other side of this is like you go back to your Sixers. If Kawhi doesn't hit that shot. And the Sixers get into the next round, and they get in the finals, and the Warriors disintegrate in front of them. They're champions. That's back when Ben Simmons was relevant. Maybe that changes the whole course of that guy's life. I don't know.
It does. It does.
But that's
changes mine too. Because we're stuck with him.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. But and kind of going through that thing, like Giannis was young. They won. They kind of came back, and I think they lost a tough series to the Celtics the following year.
Yeah, either the Celtics or the Heat. Yeah.
So, and then the Warriors won that one.
Yeah.
And then the Warriors, it looked great. I mean, they had the aging guys who just showed they could still win the title.
But Wiggins.
They had all those young guys too. They were lined up, and by the next year it implodes. Wiggins vanishes. Jordan Poole turns into a complete idiot, and that team never the same.
Yeah.
That can happen, but it looks so good.
It looks so good at that moment.
And you're like, that's what it is. And then, like you said, then you go to Denver, and they kind of had all their core pieces, lost a bench really, and then they just didn't have this, losing a 7-game series to Denver, who matched up with them, maybe a little uniquely well with their double bigs, not shutting Jokic down, but maybe making it a bit more difficult. Just so many things can happen, and kind of anointing guys that a dynasty or whatever.
Take apart this Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown thing. That's been a conversation as well about who's the better player. It's kind of divided the internet, for a little bit. What's your take on that?
It's a useless argument.
You think so?
These two guys have been tied together their whole careers.
Yeah.
They've failed together, and now they've succeeded together. And none of the noise outside has changed what they are together.
Not as far as whether it impacts Boston or not.
Yeah.
Just literally, who's the better player? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People have had those arguments throughout the course of history. Now with the Lakers, it may have impacted that team. With Kobe and Shaq and who was better.
As far as a divisive thing.
Yeah. But just literally, who's the better player?
I don't think there's a clear-cut answer.
You don't think so?
Coming out of the Warriors series, Jaylen Brown played kind of good, but it was also obvious he couldn't dribble with his offhand, and he had some strange turnovers, and he looked bad.
But he was better than Jason.
And Tatum,
in that series.
To me, if you look at it from a psychological perspective, I think Jason Tatum's biggest weakness is his affinity for Kobe Bryant. I think it's ridiculous. And I told somebody this the other day. When you get to the finals, it has to be about you. And I don't mean that in the sense of negative ego. I mean it in the sense of positive ego. You, whoever you are, got to that point. It's on you to win that. Channeling and texting a dead guy, that's not anything that's going to help you win. And that's what he does.
Yeah.
And then he did this shirt this year. Like, just stop. You got here. You go win this thing if you can. And I think whatever, I don't know if it's maturity, I don't know if it's a psychological defect, he seems to be drawn to that stuff. And I do think it kind of like affects his performance. He doesn't, always seem to rise to these moments. But I do think, he did not have a great series. I don't think he had a signature game per se. But I thought he was good. And I thought he did what he needed to do. In some of the games, he scored a little bit. Other games, he had some decent board work and some other things going on in his game. And he did what it needed to take. And by the same token, I think a little bit with the defensive role that Jalen took with Luka. And again, I think he really responded like in a two-way, because sometimes a guy will take a big defensive assignment and lock in so much on that to the extent that his offense suffers. I think Jalen struck a beautiful balance of defensive commitment and focus on a significant task, but not at the sacrifice of being an open offensive player. To me, he thrived in the moment of these finals. He accepted all the challenge that was in front of him. And to me, he's a deserving MVP of this finals. But it's not a static thing where he's completely the better player all the time.
I think it's clear cut, and I think it's clear as day. I think what gets in the way of people thought process is Jason Tatum was the better player and traditionally has been the best player on the Boston Celtics team their entire time. But I believe in the past 2 years, that's when the shift changed and players get better.
Yeah.
And I think Jason Tatum has kind of stayed the same. And Jaylen Brown has continuously just gotten so much better, improved, almost like a maxi trajectory. Just every year he's getting so much better. But on the contrary to Jason Tatum, when Jason Tatum came in, of course you have the natural progression from a rookie to where you're at now. But he came in as the more heralded player, and also, he just kind of stayed as a really good damn player. For example, the final series against Golden State. Yeah, Jaylen Brown was weak with the ball. That was a shown weakness, even though he's the best player in Boston in that series. Okay.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that again since that. We haven't seen that weakness since then. He got so much better in that offseason with handling the ball. Who knows what the hell he did that offseason?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that Jaylen Brown again. You know what I mean?
He's been good.
And he's always been a better defensive player. Always been a much better defensive player. And right now, I think we're at a point now where he's just, point out, period, the better offensive basketball player. Now, Jason does do a couple of things better. I think Jason is a better playmaker out of the two. He's not a fucking bum. He's not Tobias Harris.
No.
He's a really good damn basketball player.
Yeah.
And but I just think there's more things that Jaylen Brown could do on the court better, and not to mention the mentality, the clutchness, things that fucking really matter on the basketball court that Jaylen Brown possesses that Jason Tatum has never even shown.
No, and my mentor, Matt Hicksenbaugh, coaching-wise, he was in St. Louis when Tatum was coming up, and he's always criticized his mentality and being a guy that can actually respond in the clutch. And he's had a lot of issues in his career in that. And I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I just don't think we live it in the present. Like Jaylen Brown won MVP of the playoffs and of the finals.
Yeah,
and he was the more consistent player throughout the year. Now,
and let's go one further. He's had this campaign. The season he becomes the highest paid player in ever.
Back to
credit to him.
Credit to him.
I love Jaylen Brown. I mean, and it's funny because I think and maybe this is perception you're talking about. I used to call him my favorite non-All-Star player.
Yeah.
And because I love what he brought to the table. I loved like his offense, his defense, his mentality, all that. But I mean, there's no question at this point that he is a star in his own right. He's not. He can't be considered a sub-All-Star guy that you like a lot.
Yeah.
He is a genuine star.
And people, I've seen the arguments. I haven't even jumped in them because one thing they'll run to is, but Jason Tatum is all first-team NBA and he's this and he's that. Yeah, but those are media related. What are you fucking watching? Like because it's clear as day if you're watching the game, at least even if you don't say who's the better player overall or whatever, this year, just this fucking season, who was the better player? Because I know Jason Tatum is the more heralded guy. He has more achievements, and it's a shame because a lot of players, something has to happen for them to start getting the attention they deserve. It doesn't change the fact how great of a player they are, but they may not have the All-NBA first team. They may not have the MVP votes or whatever.
Right.
And there's different reasons for that. The market that you're in, the attention that you're receiving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to take a finals appearance and a finals MVP. And now he's going to start getting these awards. He just is
for sure.
But it shouldn't take that. It didn't take it for Tatum. It didn't take it for like 95% of the league who gets these awards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it still is a thing, though. I mean, it still is a thing.
It shouldn't be. I know it's a thing. I'm admitting it's a thing. It shouldn't be. Because it's not for other players. There's players on shit playoff teams who just get the attention, whether it's because they're in larger markets, because they have a podcast, because they have this or that they get these awards over guys like Jaylen Brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough one for me. It really is. No, I mean, not to say that he's not a star at this point. I mean, I completely agree with that. I guess I don't know. I get lost sometimes when you talk about like other guys on other teams getting accolades. Like I like, who are they? What accolades are they getting? And like what exactly are we talking about? Because at the end of the day, this guy's now a champion, and and my other thing is like, and why I started with Tatum and Brown. It's like they both benefit from playing together, and that's massive. Like they're not. I'm not saying it's 100% complimentary or throwing blind passes to each other, but at the end of their careers, they have to be thankful that they played with each other and got themselves in the situation that they were in, and that includes being coached by Brad Stevens, by being in an organization that found multiple good coaches and made great front office moves, because careers change on that stuff.
Yeah,
and I look at the Celtics as like a totality of their success, and Brown was the front runner of that through this playoff run, and credit to him. And maybe there is going to be a shift. I'd be interested to see next year, really, like even internally in the Celtics. Is Brown now believed to be the alpha in that locker room, and how does Tatum react to that? Does he accept it and they stay complimentary and move forward and play at a high level together, or does that cause an internal friction that divides the budding Celtics dynasty?
Yeah,
and it could,
Yeah. Only one can hope.
Yeah. Only one can hope. Now, I'm not hoping that. I'm hoping they keep this together and be great.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about greatness than dysfunction.
Yeah, I just don't think it's greatness. That's where we disagree.
What do you define as greatness then?
The team is great. I'm talking about the players. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
I don't see greatness when I see Jason Tatum. I just don't. He's a champion. I just don't see. I don't see greatness.
No. I was referring to it as collective.
I know.
Yeah, collectively. I mean, that's
collective.
That's the thing. That's what this. It's a team.
But we
sport.
don't. But it's a team sport. We don't talk about teams. Not even us on this show. We never talked about teams. We only talk about players. We only talk about Jordan, LeBron, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe. We don't talk about the 1983 76ers. We don't talk about the 2001 Lakers. We're talking about, when we talked about Shaq, even we just talked about Shaq 2 weeks ago, we didn't talk about the Lakers at any point of that conversation.
That's a disservice on our part for sure.
Yeah, but even the national
because you can't have the championships without that. You just can't. You're
can't,
not going to get there.
But we have the conversations without them.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
And that's
but
not fair.
Maybe we need to pivot on that because it becomes the collective greatness on this.
Yeah.
You know, again, you're a Luka guy. Like, what do you take away from this? I mean, most of your Facebook posts were the lack of support. Like, they didn't have the team to win this series. And Luka, kind of did his thing, but it wasn't properly balanced or properly supported by the team around him, and you lose 4-1. I mean, that's the thing. And so, like, you go into the offseason, if you're Dallas, we know what Luka is. Like, what do we need to change around him? And it's fair to say, what does he need to change internally to find another level? That's the process that you go through.
Yeah. Dallas is screwed. I mean,
you think they're screwed?
For at least the next couple of years, yeah. Because you can't move off Kyrie. You're not going to move off. It's not that you can't move off Kyrie. You're not going to move off Kyrie.
Right.
And I don't believe – I've always believed that Kyrie is not the guy that everyone believes he is. I've always been in that camp.
Okay.
And I know he hit the big shot in that series, and it was a great shot, all-time shot. But that doesn't alter my thinking of he's not that player. He's not the Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. He's not the whatever.
Below that, yeah.
Yeah, he's below all of the Scottie Pippens, all of those guys.
But when you say the team is screwed, though, like
I'm saying they're screwed because you're not. Even if I'm in that position, you're not going to move off Kyrie. You're just not.
But what I'm saying is there a way without moving off Kyrie that you could build enough around it?
No. And because the way the league is going now, you need as many two-way guys as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way to support Luka is for that second star to be a Jaylen Brown. Like it helps. The reason why Jaylen Brown has Jason Tatum so much is because Jaylen Brown is the best defender on that team.
Yeah, for sure.
Luka needs that second guy to be the best defender on that team.
That's what you had.
That's what Luka needs.
Scottie and Michael.
Yeah, that's what you had with Scottie and Michael.
Yeah.
That's what you have. Aaron Gordon is not technically the second guy, but in a lot of games he is. That's what you have with Aaron Gordon, whatever, Anthony Davis, and the list goes on. And so that's what you need. And Kyrie is just never going to be that. And then when he gets in a series where he can't even be his best offensive self, that's known the lack of defensive versatility he can bring.
I guess
You're screwed.
I'm looking at it from the perspective of what can you do at the other spots.
But even then, I'm telling you, even as a 76ers fan, I think we're screwed. Even though I think, okay, we got all this money. We got 3 players on the team. That's it.
Yeah.
We have Embiid, we have Maxey, and we have Paul Reed. Paul Reed contract is not even guaranteed. So really we have 2 players on the team. Right. With the most money to spend, we can go fill this roster out. I still internally believe that we're screwed, even though we can pencil in whoever, because Maxey is a one-way player. He's never going to be a two-way player. He's always going to be the weakest defender on your team. He could be hunted to the hunt, move on. Yeah. And if he gets in a series where he's going against a Boston, where he has these 6'7", 6'8" guys who's just as quick and fast as him, and he can't perform offensively to what he normally does, we're going to be screwed. Right? Now, you have to get the answer to your question is how you have to get very fucking lucky, and you have to find that third and fourth and fifth guy. Now, I do believe they have that young center. That is really good. The young center that they have, Dallas. I'm back on Dallas. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm back on Dallas. Lively, because he's on that. Not only is he on a rookie deal, but he's active. He's young. He's the nice rim runner. He's useful.
And you hope he improves because
you hope he improves. Yeah. So that's that. And you need. PJ was good up until a certain point. Okay, but you hopefully what can move off him and trade him. He does have value now. And what you need from PJ is you need a traditional two-way guy who can spot up, hit threes, and play D. PJ is more of a scorer. He's more of a scorer than he is a 3D guy. Yeah. I know he had some corner threes, but guess what? Boston had a defense where they completely shut down the corner threes.
Yeah.
Completely shut it. So that kind of took him out of the series.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he's not a versatile defender. So that's the answer to your question. What can you do?
But the way I look at it, and I'm kind of looking at Boston as the model. I know Tatum and Brown are two different types of players to Kyrie and Luka, but like at the end of the day, like part of what Boston made what they were this year is like they got the right mix of guys. They were willing to give up Marcus Smart, who is a real staple of that group for a long time. They found Drew Holiday on the cheap. And my point is like, I don't look at Dallas as being permanently screwed. Like, maybe there's a Drew Holiday move somewhere for them. Like, where you get a guy in a random situation, and then the rest of the moves end up being right. Like, I mean, we got to look at Dallas already because at the beginning of the year, they're a fringe playoff team. Yeah. And then they made, Lively comes strong. They make the PJ trade. They make the Gafford trade. And they became like a really pretty good two-way team at that point. They make the finals. And so, like, I look at it like, you can't take a given. We made the finals. We're going to be back because it's competitive. But it's like, maybe there's another round of moves that gets them that much better. And, like we talked about, maybe there's some injuries or some other funkiness that goes on with some of these other contenders. And you got your shot.
Yeah, maybe. But you're just not going to win the finals with your second guy performing the way that Kyrie did in the finals.
Not the way he performed the way he did, but
maybe
not against, but maybe in another opponent. If that's how it breaks, you get a better matchup and he plays better. I mean, I just don't. You don't know until it happens. But I mean, I definitely think. Again, I agree with you. They're kind of stuck with Kyrie. The focus needs to be on what can we do with these other moves, and what can we find.
And you have to have a little. I have a little faith in their front office. I do. I have faith in their front office. They seem to
do a good job.
Be active and know what they're looking for. So they will make.
And you talk about luck though too, and it's like, again, maybe you get a guy in the second round or a late first round guy who's a hooper and like makes a difference. That's the draft is the cheapest way to build and improve your team.
Yeah, in any sport.
For sure. So, going back to the thing, like, let's not get carried away with the dynasty talk and
man,
it has to play itself out.
No, for sure. All right, well, that's it for this show. We'll be back next week.
All right.